So there is a ribbon snake, maybe 2 feet long. It has decided that it's going to eat a toad. That's a pretty large meal for that ribbon snake. I'll be curious to see if he can get it down. Snakes can dislocate their jaws and swallow something pretty good size. Sometimes snakes bite off more than they can chew. So I'm just kind of curious as to whether or not the snake is going to be successful in its feeding attempt. Toad has inflated itself. They kind of suck in a lot of air to make himself bigger. And so that's the toad's defense. And so there's a chance that this toad will still come out of this thing. He's inflated himself, he's all puffed up, and that ribbon snake is going to be patient and wait till the toad succumbs and deflates, or he's going to give up. He's kind of in one of my little pond habitats that I've got. That's a good look at the side view. It's kind of interesting the way nature, everything's got an offense and a defense. For instance, the ribbon snake, if something grabs it, it's going to put up a stink. They can get pretty stinky, and that might persuade a predator to let it go. This toad can inflate itself to half again as big as he is, and that may be sufficient to save his life in this situation, or not. But that ribbon snake is pretty determined, and he has no doubt in his day eaten a few toads. As a matter of fact, that's probably one of his preferred meals. See, I watch these things, and it just happens whether I'm around or not, and I won't interfere. I have in the past, as a younger guy, I've made snakes let go of frogs and stuff, but I just don't think that's the right way to go. It's better to let nature take its course. Let things happen the way they're going to happen. There's plenty of toads around. There's plenty of ribbon snakes. They both have their encounters. Aha! That ribbon snake made a move with that toad in its mouth. Now, another thing to point out too is while the snake is trying to swallow the toad, the snake becomes somewhat defenseless. If a large snake were to come around, or any kind of predator, it could easily capture this ribbon snake, which is usually pretty fast and agile. But as long as it's got that toad in its mouth, it's marginalized itself a little bit as to what it can do to defend itself. The dog's going to walk by. I'll be curious to see what the snake does as the dog approaches the area. It may cause some. Hey, bear, come on, get out of there. Get out of there, bear. Bear, come on. As you can see, my dog is quite well behaved. Not. Come on. Snake didn't flinch. Mother Nature's brutal. And again, nature is energy in, energy out. So most animals at some point are reluctant to expend a whole lot of energy. Right now the snake is in a holding pattern. No pun intended. And at some point, the issue to the snake is going to be, can I really do this? And do I want to keep putting all this energy into attempting to swallow this toad? The toad's still got some kick in him. I was going to say, I think toads are pretty aggressive, and I don't know if a big toad could eat a little baby garter snake or not, so it's possible. You know how that predator-prey relationship can change over a lifespan, where something was eaten at one time, and then as it grows up and matures, it starts eating the thing that would have eaten it. When I was a kid, I had a California king snake. It was about 2.5 foot long, real pretty. I bought it at a pet store, and I used to feed it the little white mice from the pet store. I remember they cost 60 cents a piece, the white mice. And so I would let the kids know when it was feeding time, and I'd collect a dime from each kid that wanted to watch. So all it took was 6 dimes, and I could go to the pet store and get a white mouse and bring it back and feed it to the king snake. And when the snake was hungry, we'd get another 60 cents. Made the mistake one time when I was young of putting a king snake in with a ribbon snake, and the ribbon snake was thinner but a little bit longer than the king snake. Both of them were juveniles. And of course, king snakes are known for eating other snakes. So I remember one of the little cute girls from the neighborhood came over, and I was going to impress her by showing her my snakes. Took her to where I kept my snakes, and that old king snake had swallowed that ribbon snake. But the tragedy was the king snake ended up dying. That ribbon snake was more than it can handle. I don't know what was the cause of death exactly, but it was just too big a meal, and the king snake died. So I ended up going from 2 snakes to 0 snakes, but I also learned a lesson about keeping king snakes and other snakes in the same container. Not a good idea. Of course, right here around the house, there's quite a number of natural predators that ribbon snake has. There's a king snake or 2 that I have, and there's a large racer, and they frequent all parts of my yard. And so that ribbon snake didn't get large by accident. It's managed to avoid king snakes and racers and hawks and cats and all kind of predators for a long time. So the snake's teeth are all facing inward, and it just kind of slowly unhinges and hinges and unhinges and hinges its upper and lower jaw to just slowly advance on its prey, almost like a conveyor belt. Just kind of keeps it just kind of slowly moving in. And because they're faced inward, it's harder for an animal to escape once the snake has got a hold of it. So while I'm sitting here waiting for the inevitable outcome, filming One large ribbon snake eating a toad. Another kind of medium-sized ribbon snake crawls right up into the area. Well, I wasn't sure how it was going to turn out for quite a while, and I would say that's one determined ribbon snake. So poor old toad didn't fare well for him. It's kind of like life, you know. There's nothing fair in life. Not fair for the toad, but pretty fair for the ribbon snake. That ribbon snake has got a meal that's going to last him for many days. If you showed me the toad and showed me the snake, I would bet on the toad. Glad I have my camera charged up. When they're done eating, kind of open their mouth and kind of stretch everything back into place a little bit. He's still got a little bit of toad sticking out of his mouth, just about done.